I've been wanting to try exobiology, so I finally went out on a little trip to find some organisms. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this organism. It's like Fonticulua or something. What I learned when I searched Google is that its AI seems to think I'm pretty dumb.
What's your IQ, Commander?
After I found the first sample, I jumped in my ship and flew around the planet trying to find another one, but later I realized it was faster to just jump in my SRV and go around 500 meters in any direction and try to find another sample that way. I drove quite far away from my ship and I saw that it was on my radar, so I thought I'd be able to find it again, but then at one point I realized it was gone from my radar. I didn't realize at that point that I could recall my ship, so I was just kind of randomly driving all around and being lost, but it ended up being cool because I stumbled across my first bacterium that way. But I wasn't able to find any other bacteria on this trip, so I was content with my Fonticulula. I'm at about 60 hours of gameplay at this point, and it worked out pretty well for me timing-wise because there have been 2 community goals back-to-back, really at just the right time for me to be able to participate in them and get a significant amount of credits in order for me to be able to buy other ships. And then of course it was also fun, and I got to learn some things and try some new activities in the game that I hadn't tried yet. I talked about the previous community goal in my last video, and this community goal was collecting pirate bounties. Nice. This was my first time going into high resource zones in order to find pirates. I was still flying my Cobra Mark III, which was a bit wimpy, but I ended up adding some multi-cannons to it, so I had both lasers and multi-cannons. In a one-on-one fight with most of these ships, I would have been destroyed, but because the police were there, I made sure to leverage their help as much as possible, and so it ended up being pretty easy for me to get bounties. It's funny, but it turned out that the larger ships were actually easier for me to deal with than the smaller ships. Not only the much larger bounties, but also I never really saw a large ship escape before it was destroyed after spending a bunch of time on it. And the closest I came to getting destroyed in this community goal was by like Cobra Mark IIIs and small ships like that. So credit-wise, my rough progression was something like it took me a couple weeks when I started to get to like around 10 million. And then in my first community goal, I got something like 150 million. And then after my second community goal, like maybe this is now 3 or 4 weeks later, after starting the game, I had like 350 million. And I really didn't feel like I had to do much grinding or anything for that, so I was feeling good about being able to get another ship with that money. This screenshot may not look super exciting. It's from when I was leaving the Exobiology mission, but for some reason at this point I just felt completely immersed in the game and really transported into its universe. And it reminded me of something that had happened in Empyrean many months ago when I was still pretty new to that game, where I just felt, yeah, like I was inside the game almost. It was very cool. I'm a little behind on making videos. It takes me a while to make these, to be honest, and I have also been a bit obsessed with playing Elite lately, and I've been playing instead of making videos. So some stuff has happened that I didn't have time to put into this video, which I'll be talking about in my next video, namely buying a Mandalay, which has been really awesome. And I basically picked a direction and flew out of the bubble for the first time. So that's part of what I'm going to cover in my next video and whatever else happens in the meantime. Thank you so much for watching. It's always appreciated, and thank you to all my subscribers, and I love all the people commenting on my videos. It is much appreciated. Goodbye.